Listen, life is going to throw distractions at you left and right. You wake up with good intentions, and before you know it, you're scrolling, watching, and worrying about things that have nothing to do with your goals, and you wonder why you're not where you want to be. It ain't because you're not smart. It's not because you don't have talent. It's because you keep letting distractions pull you away from your purpose. Focus is one of the most powerful tools a person can develop. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. But just like a muscle, if you don't use it, it weakens. A lot of people struggle to stay locked in on their goals. Not because they're not capable, but because they've never learned how to build their focus. They let distractions control them instead of taking control of their own mind. Think about it. When you go to the gym and start lifting weights, you don't see results overnight. It takes time. You start with what you can handle, and as you keep training, your muscles grow. The same thing happens with focus. At first, it's hard. You might find yourself getting distracted every few minutes, losing track of what you are supposed to be doing. But if you keep working at it, if you commit to training your focus, over time, it becomes easier. You start noticing that you can stay locked in for longer periods. Your mind becomes sharper. You start achieving things that once seemed impossible simply because you've developed the ability to direct your energy where it matters. The problem is most people don't treat their focus like a muscle. They let it get weaker and weaker without even realizing it. Every time they pick up their phone, instead of working on their dream, they're making it harder to focus. Every time they let small distractions pull them away from what they need to do, they're reinforcing a habit of losing focus. And habits shape results. If you develop the habit of being distracted, your life will reflect that. You'll always feel like you're busy but never really moving forward. But when you develop the habit of staying focused, things start to shift. You get more done. You start winning. Think about the most successful people in the world. They didn't get to where they are by bouncing from one thing to the next, letting every little distraction throw them off. No, they learned how to focus. They trained themselves to block out the noise and zero in on what mattered. Whether it's an athlete training for a championship, a business person building a company, or an artist perfecting their craft, the one thing they all have in common is focus. They know that what they put their time and energy into will grow, so they don't waste it on things that don't serve their vision. A strong mind isn't something you're just born with. It's something you build. And the way you build it is by consistently strengthening your ability to focus. That means being intentional about what you give your attention to. It means setting priorities and sticking to them. It means recognizing when you're being pulled off track and having the discipline to bring yourself back. Because every time you choose to focus, you're making your mind stronger. You're teaching yourself how to stay locked in no matter what's happening around you. The truth is, focus is the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. It's not always about who's the smartest or who has the most talent. It's about who can stay committed long enough to see results. Some of the most brilliant people in the world never reach their potential because they can't stay focused. They let distractions, doubt, and outside noise pull them away from what they were meant to do. Meanwhile, people with less natural talent but a stronger focus push through and win. Developing strong focus doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You're going to get distracted sometimes. You're going to have moments where your mind wanders. But what matters is what you do when that happens. Do you give in to the distraction and lose time, or do you recognize it, refocus, and keep going? The more you train yourself to come back to what matters, the easier it gets. Eventually, staying focused becomes second nature. What you focus on grows. This is one of the most important principles of success, and yet most people don't realize how much control they actually have over their own lives just by choosing what they give their attention to. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant in it and water consistently is what will flourish. If you focus on negativity, fear, and doubt, that's exactly what will take over. But if you focus on growth, opportunities, and solutions, those things will expand instead. Every thought you entertain, every problem you dwell on, every goal you give energy to, it all has the power to shape your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that you're stuck, that you're not good enough, that life is unfair, your mind will find ways to prove that to you. It will magnify the problems, highlight your weaknesses, and keep you in a cycle where you never move forward. But the opposite is also true. If you start focusing on what's possible, if you shift your mindset to one of belief and determination, your mind will start working in your favor. It will look for solutions, recognize opportunities, and push you toward progress. The reason why this is so powerful is that your focus controls your energy. Wherever your focus goes, your energy follows. If you focus on your problems, they feel bigger and more overwhelming. You start to believe they're impossible to solve. But if you shift your focus toward finding answers, your mind starts working differently. Instead of feeling stuck, you start coming up with ideas. Instead of feeling like a victim of your circumstances, you start taking control. This is why two people can go through the same struggle and come out with completely different results. One focused on what was holding them back, while the other focused on how to move forward. This applies to every area of life. If you want to be successful, you have to focus on success. If you want to be happy, you have to focus on what brings you joy. If you want to improve, you have to focus on the actions that will lead to growth. You can't expect to reach new levels in life while keeping your focus on the things that hold you back. Too many people waste time focusing on things they can't control, things that drain them or things that don't contribute to their future. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. The truth is they're feeding the wrong things. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about training your mind to be intentional. This means being mindful of the conversations you engage in, the information you consume, and the thoughts you entertain. If you spend hours focused on drama, negativity, or things that don't align with your goals, you're giving those things power over your life. But if you choose to focus on learning, self-improvement, and the steps you need to take to win, your mind will adjust accordingly. Your focus determines your habits, and your habits determine your future. If you focus on excuses, you'll find reasons to stay where you are. If you focus on effort, you'll find ways to move forward. If you focus on setbacks, you'll always feel behind. If you focus on solutions, you'll always find a way to keep going. The mind is a powerful tool, but it can either work for you or against you, depending on how you train it. The key is to take control of your focus. Be intentional about where you direct your energy. Pay attention to what's taking up space in your mind, because whatever you give attention to will grow, whether it's helping you or hurting you. Distractions are everywhere. They come in different forms. Your phone buzzing, people pulling you into their problems, unnecessary drama, or even your own thoughts that take you away from what you should be doing. Most people don't even realize how much time they lose every day just by letting these distractions control them. And the more you give in to distractions, the weaker your mind becomes. Every time you stop working on something important to check social media, you're training your brain to lose focus. Every time you let someone else's negativity take over your mindset, you're letting outside influences weaken your ability to stay on track. Distractions don't just waste time, they chip away at your mental strength. They make it harder to concentrate, harder to stay disciplined, and harder to follow through on your goals. The reason distractions are so dangerous is that they don't seem like a big deal in the moment. Checking one notification takes a few seconds. Taking a short break turns into scrolling for an hour. Putting off a task just for today turns into putting it off indefinitely. It happens so subtly that people don't realize how much it's affecting them until they look up and see that they haven't made progress. Their goals are still sitting there untouched while time keeps moving forward. Your ability to focus is one of the most valuable assets you have, but every time you let distractions win, you weaken it. Think about athletes training for a competition. They don't have time to be distracted by nonsense because they know that even a small lapse in focus can cost them everything. The same is true for anyone trying to succeed in life. The more distractions you allow, the harder it becomes to achieve what you set out to do. A weak mind gives in easily. It jumps from one thing to the next, constantly looking for entertainment, comfort, or an escape from hard work. A strong mind, on the other hand, stays locked in. It knows how to block out distractions and push forward, even when things get tough. But strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And you build it by taking control of your focus, cutting out what doesn't serve you, and disciplining yourself to stay on track. Most distractions aren't urgent, but they feel urgent in the moment. That's why people struggle with self-control. The key is learning how to recognize when something is pulling you away from your priorities and making the conscious decision to refocus. Every time you do that, you're strengthening your mind. You're training yourself to resist instant gratification in favor of long-term success. The people who accomplish great things in life aren't the ones who never get distracted. They're the ones who know how to shut distractions down and get back to work. They've trained their minds to stay strong under pressure, to resist temptation, and to keep moving forward no matter what. Successful people understand that focus is their greatest asset. It's not always about having the best ideas, the most talent, or the most resources. It's about having the ability to stay locked in on what matters, even when distractions and obstacles arise. The world is full of interruptions and temptations that pull people away from their goals. But successful individuals know how to stay disciplined and consistent. They know how to keep their attention where it needs to be. When you focus, you're able to concentrate your energy on a single task, pushing forward with laser-like precision. You stop wasting time on things that don't contribute to your mission. You eliminate the noise and keep your mind trained on the bigger picture. Successful people don't waste time with irrelevant distractions because they understand that time is their most valuable resource. They know that every moment spent on things that don't matter takes away from the time they could be investing in their future. Focus means prioritizing. It means understanding that you can't do everything and be everywhere at once. Successful people are intentional about where they direct their energy. They're not trying to please everyone or take on every opportunity that comes their way. They understand that saying no to some things is saying yes to the things that truly align with their goals. They don't get distracted by what other people are doing. Instead, they stay locked in on what they're building. Think about some of the most successful figures in any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, or artists. They didn't achieve their success by dabbling in a little bit of everything. They focused. They blocked out distractions. They put in the hours when no one was watching. And they stayed committed to their path, even when it wasn't easy. They knew that focus would give them an edge, and they used it to their advantage. But here's the thing. Focus isn't easy. The world is full of distractions, and we're constantly bombarded with messages that try to pull us away from our work. The key is to make focus a habit. It's something you have to actively choose every day. Successful people don't just happen to be focused. They've worked at it. They've trained their minds to stay on track, to say no to the things that don't matter, and to push through the challenges that inevitably come their way. It's not about being perfect or having it all figured out. It's about building the habit of focus. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. The more you resist distractions, the stronger your focus becomes. And eventually, focus becomes second nature. It becomes a part of who you are. Successful people don't let the little things pull them off track. They know how to block out the noise and stay committed to what's important. They understand that success is a result of consistent effort, and focus is the key to making that effort count. They don't waste time looking for shortcuts or quick fixes. Instead, they put in the work, stay focused, and watch their success grow over time. Your future depends on your ability to focus. Every decision you make, every habit you build, and every action you take is shaping the life you're going to live. The problem is that most people don't realize this in the moment. They think they have time to get serious later. They think they can afford to waste hours, days, and even years on distractions, but time doesn't wait. The future isn't something that just happens. It's something you create based on what you focus on right now. People who struggle to get ahead in life often blame their circumstances, but the truth is, Their lack of progress is usually tied to a lack of focus. When you don't control your focus, you end up spending your energy on things that don't move you forward. You waste time worrying about what other people are doing. You let negativity consume your thoughts. You give your attention to problems instead of solutions, and before you know it, you've spent years stuck in the same place, wondering why nothing has changed. The people who succeed in life are the ones who take control of their focus. They don't let their energy get scattered in 100 different directions. They choose to lock in on what matters and block out the rest. They know that every single day is an opportunity to move closer to their goals, and they refuse to waste that opportunity. They wake up with intention. They train their minds to stay disciplined. They remind themselves daily that their future is being built by what they choose to focus on today. Focus is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who just talk about it. It's not about luck or being born into the right situation. It's about learning how to control your attention, your time, and your energy. When you focus on your vision, your actions start aligning with your goals. You start making better choices. You stop entertaining distractions. You become more disciplined with your time because you understand that every moment wasted is a moment you'll never get back. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with focus is because they allow outside influences to control their minds. They listen to too many opinions. They spend too much time consuming information instead of applying it. They get caught up in things that have nothing to do with their future. The strongest minds belong to those who know how to shut out the noise and concentrate on what's important. There's no shortcut to success, but if there was one thing that could get you there faster, it's the ability to focus. When you make the decision to focus on your goals with everything you've got, things start to shift. You start making progress that once seemed impossible. You start seeing results. Your mind gets stronger, your confidence grows, and your future starts looking exactly how you envisioned it. Making the decision to cut distractions and strengthen your mind is one of the most important choices you will ever make. Most people go through life allowing distractions to control them, never realizing that they have the power to take charge of their own focus. They let outside influences dictate their energy, their mood, and their productivity. But the moment you decide to take control, everything changes. Your mind becomes stronger, your actions become more intentional, and your life starts moving in the direction you actually want it to go. It starts with awareness. You have to recognize where your time and energy are going. If you spend hours scrolling through social media, engaging in meaningless conversations, or procrastinating on things that matter, you're training your mind to be weak. You're reinforcing habits that make it harder to focus when it really counts. But when you start cutting out those distractions, you begin to reclaim your mental strength. You start using your time wisely, putting your energy into things that build you up instead of tearing you down. Discipline is key. Strengthening your mind doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistent effort, just like building muscle in the gym. You have to train yourself to stay focused, even when it's uncomfortable. You have to learn to say no to things that don't serve your purpose. You have to develop the ability to recognize when you're being pulled off track and correct it before it becomes a habit. The more you do this, the stronger your mind becomes. The easier it gets to lock in on what truly matters. Your environment plays a huge role in this process. If you surround yourself with people who are always distracted, always complaining, always wasting time, you'll struggle to break free from that cycle. But if you start putting yourself in spaces where focus is valued, where people are driven and disciplined, that mindset will start to rub off on you. You'll begin to see the power of focus in action. You'll realize that success isn't just about talent. It's about the ability to stay committed to your vision without letting distractions take over. A strong mind is built through challenges. There will be moments when you feel like giving up, when distractions seem too tempting, when it feels easier to go back to old habits. But every time you push through, you're reinforcing your ability to stay focused. You're proving to yourself that you have control over your mind. You're developing the kind of mental toughness that separates high achievers from everyone else. The truth is, most people never take full control of their focus, and because of that, they never reach their full potential. But when you make the choice to strengthen your mind, to cut out distractions, to fully commit to your goals, you put yourself in a position to win. You start operating at a higher level. You become the kind of person who follows through, who stays locked in, who refuses to settle for anything less than success.